In this video, we're going to have a look at how do we calculate compound interest. And when we're calculating compound interest, to get the interest amount, there's really two steps that we need to do. The first step is going to be to calculate the total amount, including the original principal plus the interest. To do that, we use the formula A is equal to P, and then in brackets, 1 plus R to the power of N. So let's have a look at what each of those components represent. So A represents the amount in total. And that total amount is the principal plus the interest. So how much at the end of the investment or at the end of the loan that you've got in total. P is the principal, so the original amount you are starting with. R is the interest rate per period. We'll have a look at how we calculate that when we look at an example. And N is the number of times it compounds. So in calculating the amount of compound interest, that is the first step, is to calculate the total amount using the formula A is equal to P, and then in brackets, 1 plus R to the power of N. The second step in calculating compound interest is to calculate the actual principal amount. And we use the formula CI is equal to A minus P. Now, in that formula, CI is compound interest. So the amount of interest that is actually being earned or actually being paid. A is the amount in total, and that's the amount we calculate in step 1. And P is the original principal amount. In completing those two steps, we'll be able to calculate the compound interest amount. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. In the first example, I want to calculate the interest earned on the following investment. Now the investment is $3,000 at 5% for 2 years, compounding annually. Now it's important to note that we are compounding annually because that may not always be the case. Sometimes you might be compounding 6 monthly or monthly, weekly, or even daily. So that's an important piece of information to know. So to calculate the interest amount, first we need to calculate the total future value of that investment. So we are calculating that amount. We know that our principal is $3,000. Our interest rate is 5% or 0.05. And our number of times it is compounding is 2. So we can apply that to our formula. So A is equal to P 1 plus R to the power of N. This time substituting in the values. So 3,000 times by 1 plus 0.05 to the power of 2. So putting that into my calculator, I know that my future amount is going to be $3,307.50. So now that I've done the first step and calculated the future amount, the second step is going to be calculate the interest component. So the compound interest is going to be that future value minus the original principal. So $3,307.50 minus $3,000. So the compound interest on that original investment is going to be $307.50. So if you were to invest $3,000 at 5% for 2 years, and that compounds annually, it is going to equal $307.50 worth of interest. So that's an example of how we calculate compound interest when we are compounding annually. So that's once per year. So in the second example, I want to calculate the interest earned on the following investment. And that investment is $12,500 at 7.8% for 3.5 years, compounding monthly. Now, it's important to note in this example, we are compounding monthly. So that means per year, we are compounding 12 times. So we'll start off with the first step and calculate the total future investment. So we are calculating the value of A. Our principal is 12,500. Our interest rate, this time we need the interest rate per compounding period. So we need to divide our interest rate by 12. So it's going to be 0.078 over 12 as my interest rate. And the number of times it is compounding is going to be 3.5 for 3.5 years times by 12. And that is going to equal 42 times. So now that I've gone ahead and defined my values, I can write the formula and calculate the total amount I'm going to have in 3.5 years' time. So that amount is going to equal P, and then in brackets 1 plus R to the power of N. So 12,500 times 1 plus 0.078 divided by 12, and then to the power of 42. Now, when I'm doing this calculation, I leave the interest rate as a fraction over 12. So that means when I put it into the calculator, I'm getting the most correct value for that calculation. So when that is entered into the calculator, you get an answer of $6,409.25. So in 3.5 years' time, you'll have a total amount of $16,409.25. Now, to calculate the interest component on that, we can use the formula compound interest is the future amount minus the principal. So that's going to equal $16,409.25 minus 12,500. So my compound interest amount is going to be $3,909.25. So the interest earned on an investment of $12,500 at 7.8% for 3.5 years compounding monthly is equal to $3,909.25. So that's an example of how we calculate compound interest when we are compounding monthly.